Colorful banners ripple against the gray skyline, masking the profound solitude of unseen narratives. Amidst the thrumming energy, emotions ignite as fortune meets raw suffering. When harsh truths collide, which lessons will rise from the ashes? Redemption or regret? In the heart of a bustling metropolitan city, where glimmering skyscrapers towered over the lesser-known corners of society, an expansive park pulsed with life. Protests rang through the air, vibrant colors and passionate voices blending into a captivating cacophony. Tattered banners waved in the wind, calling for justice, weaving tales of urgency and need. The scent of fried food mingled with the enticing aroma of coffee from nearby stalls, while the laughter of children echoed against the backdrop of fervent speeches. Yet amidst this animated scene, the atmosphere crackled with palpable tension. The stark contrast between technology's brilliance and human struggle loomed large. Among the throngs, Leo stood out, not just for his ragged clothing, but for the fire igniting his sharp green eyes. Though homeless, the weight of society's dismissive stares had molded him into a perceptive observer of the human spirit. He carried a wisdom born from tragedy, a survivor of life's indifference who had not lost his voice. His mind was a treasure trove of knowledge about resilience, illuminating life beyond the shadow of privilege. In deep reflection, Leo pondered his purpose, determined to challenge the invisible walls that separated him from the world of the elite. On the other side of the spectrum, the figure of Elon Musk emerged. Clad in a tailored jacket, his confident stride suggested an air of ambition and control. Charismatic yet buried under expectations, businessman and innovator Elon battled his internal demons of societal pressure. Behind his polished facade lurked an uneasy curiosity about the world unfiltered by wealth. Today he would address the masses, an opportunity both thrilling and daunting, allowing whispers of moral doubt to creep into his carefully crafted narrative. As Leo inhaled the energy around him, he would soon be compelled to confront Elon, igniting a clash planned by destiny. The city pulsed with energy, a living tapestry woven with the sounds of bustling car horns, distant laughter, and the rhythmic chants of protesters. Brightly colored banners, proclaiming justice and equity, whipped in the brisk wind, the atmosphere electric with fervor and hope. Yet beneath the vibrant veneer lay cracks, an ever-present reminder of the chasm between the affluent and the forsaken. The air thickened with the weight of unspoken stories, as the juxtaposition of gleaming skyscrapers and shadowy alleyways captured the essence of a world built on disparity. Amidst this urban cacophony, Leo, his rugged jeans frayed at the edges and a weathered cap shading his weary eyes, leaned against a sun-bleached wall, a witness to the city's pulse. He was not invisible, though society often dismissed him as such. To his ears, the chant for social change felt like a distant echo, one tethered to dreams that rarely trickled down to the streets where he roamed. The faces in the crowd, animated by their convictions, only served to amplify his isolation, igniting a spark of indignation within. Then, with an air of importance, Elon Musk took to the makeshift stage, the crowd erupting in cheers. Leo's heart raced, not from admiration, but from a swelling frustration. As Elon began to extol his vision for a better future, each word felt like a dagger, an affront to those left outside the progress he touted. In a moment of unfiltered honesty, Leo shouted into the throng, "You're building rockets to Mars while people starve on Earth. You flaunt privilege and forget the pain beneath your polished shoes." Gasps erupted. Whispers spread like wildfire. The tension buzzed thick in the air, igniting a spark that foreshadowed a clash. A confrontation not just between two men, but between worlds unable to see one another. Amid the lively atmosphere of the protest rally, tension crackled in the air, nearly palpable as Leo's fierce words reverberated against the imposing concrete backdrop. The crowd shifted, some eyes wide with shock, others harboring uneasy admiration for the homeless man who dared to challenge the towering figure of Elon Musk. Leo stood firm, his coat ragged, but his spirit undeterred, flashing an unexpected sardonic smile at the visibly flustered billionaire. "You think your tech can save the world?" Leo shouted, his voice slicing through the murmurs of the crowd. But what good is a rocket to Mars when folks are starving right outside your tech paradise? Do you even see us, Elon? Or are we just background noise in your grand ambitions? Elon's brow furrowed with indignation. He took a step forward, adjusting the collar of his designer jacket, struggling to gather his composure. I believe in innovation, he retorted, striving for authority amid the cracks forming in his public persona. My work aims to tackle global challenges. We're talking about the future here? Ah, the future, Leo scoffed, his arms wide in an exaggerated gesture. A future where you get to play God while we're just trying to find a meal. Tell me, does your vision include a seat for the people you've brushed aside? Or are they forever just collateral damage in your game of progress? Stung by Leo's words, Elon felt an unfamiliar pang of vulnerability, something he had long buried beneath layers of success. You think you know me? He shot back, anger laced with an underline of panic. You have no idea what it takes to be me. There's responsibility. There are lives depending on what I do. And yet, here you are, surrounded by privilege, oblivious to the faces of those suffering. Leo's voice softened, bitterness replaced by earnest intensity. Responsibility without compassion is just power without purpose. Have you ever stopped to look beyond your empire? Elon's heart raced. In the crowd, he could see varying reactions. Some nodded slowly, recognizing the truth hidden in Leo's bitterness, while others remained staunch, ready to defend their idol. The confrontation had morphed into a tug-of-war of ideals as emotion surged. Leo's raw exposure of reality versus Elon's stoic defense of his vision. Maybe, just maybe, Leo continued, voice rising once more. It's time to listen instead of preach. We're here, living testimonies of what your world has forgotten. Silence enveloped the rally, a moment suspended in the weight of shared truths. Elon, torn between pride and awakening, faced a pivotal juncture, the clash of privilege and pain igniting the core of his very existence. As Leo's voice reverberated through the air, a hush fell over the crowd, a tangled mix of shock and anticipation hanging like electricity. The vibrant banners that had danced excitedly mere moments before now drooped under the weight of an uncomfortable tension. Elon, backed by the polished facade of his corporation and accolades, faced a truth he had fought tirelessly to avoid. Do you even see us? Leo's voice rose, a melody of frustration and raw truth that cut deep. You up there with your clean suits and massive profits, pretending it's enough to throw a few pennies into the well of our suffering? Do you think your latest gadget can drown out the cries of the hungry? We are not your statistics. We're values, human lives slipping through the cracks. A rumble began to ripple through the audience, and the onlookers strained their necks between the two men, caught in a spectacle that felt both intimate and monumental. Elon, with his brow furrowed, attempted to reassert control over the situation, a CEO trained to absorb critiques and pivot to business as usual. My efforts aim to solve real-world problems. I am working toward a solution. He attempted to speak with authority, but his words faltered, weighted by the truth of awareness seeping in. Is it really solving problems if you're oblivious to the faces behind them? Leo pressed. How many people have you passed on your way to this stage? Did you even notice the homeless youth sleeping on the edge of the park? Or were you too busy adjusting your $200 shoes? Gasps and murmurs arose. The crowd now divided. Some began to nod in agreement with Leo, while others shouted supportive chants for Elon's work. The intensity of emotions buried underneath the surface now exploded, mirroring the chaotic city that surrounded them. Elon's jaw clenched, each accusation a blow to the armor he had built around himself. Yet beneath the hostility lingered an unasked question, one that began to fester and whisper in his mind. What if Leo is right? In that moment, as the vibrant rally shifted, the dichotomy between their lives became glaringly apparent. Elon felt the walls that shielded him from reality begin to crack. Maybe I don't know enough, he admitted half to himself. What do you propose we do about it? Leo hesitated, a flicker of vulnerability passing across his face, offering no simple answer. The air thickened with expectation, a collective question hanging dangerously close, ready to plunge them both into deeper waters. What truth lay beneath the surface of shared humanity waiting to be uncovered? The atmosphere in the air was thick with tension as Elon Musk stepped forward, his brow furrowed in contemplation, a moment pregnant with possibility. Crowds had fallen silent, drawn into a suspended reality where every heartbeat echoed louder than words. Leo, still seething from the confrontation, felt the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him, yet it was now or never. "All right, Musk," Leo began, his voice steady but charged with emotion. "You think you're changing the world, giving it shiny, glittering toys? But what about the people right in front of you? The ones struggling to make it through the day? You need to see us, not just the numbers on spreadsheets." His gaze pierced through Elon's polished exterior, challenging the mogul not with bitterness, but with a raw, desperate plea for understanding. Elon regarded Leo, taken aback. "I didn't know you felt that way," he said, his voice suddenly filled with vulnerability, as though a carefully constructed facade was beginning to crack. "I'm trying to solve the biggest problems: climate change, space exploration, helping humanity reach for the stars. But I never considered—" His words trailed off and he swallowed hard, the reality of Leo's accusation weighing heavily on him. "Could you?" Leo interjected, heart racing. "Could you take a step back from your starships and just see the people invisible to you? They're not just statistics, they're souls, dreaming of a chance to thrive." Suddenly the crowd felt like a living organism, shifting restlessly as if sensing the monumental shift occurring on that stage. Emotions surged within the onlookers, an electric charge that amplified the gravity of the exchange. Elon's mind raced, flashing memories of encounters with the wealthy elite, the armchair conversations that never resonated, all illuminating a disconnection he could no longer ignore. In that moment, realization struck like lightning. This man, this beautifully flawed individual standing before him, was more than just a protester. Leo represented the voices he had overlooked in his pursuit of progress, the lives that had been trampled by the very industry he thrived in. "I know I've been blind," Elon admitted, his voice steadier now, yet laden with a newfound weight. "But maybe I can learn. Maybe I can do more than just create. I can listen. I need to listen." "Yes," Leo responded, a flicker of hope illuminating his weary eyes. "If you really want to change the world, start with understanding it. Start with us." At that moment, each man found a piece of himself reflected in the other's struggles. Elon took a deep breath, feeling a spark of responsibility igniting within him. This was the turning point they both needed. Their lives, so vastly different, yet now inexplicably linked. The crowd, witnessing something extraordinary, erupted into soft applause, a testament not just to entertainment, but the emergence of unity. In that rallying moment, Leo had become an advocate, and Elon, perhaps, a new kind of leader. Both were reborn, not as adversaries, but as collaborators in the tapestry of human experience, ready to tackle the chasm that separated wealth from poverty. The city pulsed with newfound energy, the once sharp lines of division now blurred with compassion. Elon, having committed to new community initiatives, spoke at a press conference framed by vivid murals depicting the lives of those often overlooked. Shadows of doubt, once draped over his shoulders, had lifted. Leo stood by his side, a rough-hewn beacon of authenticity, sharing his own path of survival and advocacy. "Empathy is more than a word," Leo proclaimed, his voice steady, glancing at Elon. "It's a lived experience." The audience, once polar opposites, now leaned into their stories, eager not just to listen, but to engage. Elon's heart swelled as he realized the profound impact their dialogue had birthed, inspiring others to embrace their own narratives. Their journey had transformed not just their respective lives, but sparked a broader awakening in the community. Those once lost in anonymity began to find their voices, echoing Leo's words of recognition. As they parted, a warmth filled the air, an unspoken promise to continue their work. The city thrived, now woven with threads of empathy, demonstrating that understanding and compassion could bridge even the widest chasms, shaping a future ripe with potential for all.